Welcome to Who Yelling Now, Season 5, Episode 2, titled, We Call It Loyalty. Copyright Mackenzie. We call it loyalty. We praise it. We expect it. We demand it. Be loyal. Stay loyal. Ride or die. But we don't ask enough questions about it. We don't ask loyalty to what? Loyalty to who? And at what cost? Because somewhere along the way, loyalty stopped being a choice and became a requirement, a quiet rule we follow, even when it's hurting us. So today, I want to ask something simple. When does loyalty become self-abandonment? My dearest friends, sometimes we don't recognize it at first because it doesn't feel like harm. It feels like commitment. It feels like strength. It feels like doing the right thing until it doesn't. Here is a poem I call Still Standing. I stayed, not because I was loved, but because I said I would. I held on to promises that stopped holding me. I called it strength. This quiet endurance, this swallowing of self. They called me loyal, and I wore it like a badge while slowly disappearing. No one asked what it cost me to stay, and I never answered because leaving would have required a truth I wasn't ready to say. So, my proud and kind listeners, loyalty has a way of sounding honorable, even when it's not. Let me tell you a story about two girlfriends. I call this story Sunday Brunch. Every Sunday, Danielle met Cheyenne for brunch. Same place, same table, same drinks that always turn into 2, then 3. This was their ritual. But more than that, Cheyenne wasn't just a friend. She was the only friend who remembered Danielle's life before she became Mike's wife. Before the routine, before the compromises, before the quieter version of herself she now lived in. And every Sunday, somewhere between the second drink and the truth, Cheyenne would say it. Girl, when you gonna leave? You already know I'm here for you. Daniel would laugh it off, deflect, change the subject. She would take another sip because answering that question meant opening a door she wasn't ready to walk through. But this Sunday felt different because when Danielle looked at Cheyenne, she saw a mirror, a living archive of herself, the version of her that used to be louder, lighter, certain. And for a moment, it felt like that version of her was saying, I see you. So when the question came again this day, girl, when you gonna leave? Daniel didn't laugh it off this time. She answered, it's been 10 years of memories, 10 years of shared routine, 10 years of becoming someone. It's not just him, it's the years. 10 years of waking up next to the same person. You don't just walk away from that like it didn't happen. Because when you spend that much time with someone, you don't just build a relationship. You build a version of yourself. Also, it's me. The version of me that chose him, stayed with him, built a life with him, a self that only exists because they existed. So when you say, just leave, you're not understanding what's being asked. I'm not just deciding whether to leave a person. I'm deciding, who do I become without Mike? Because every memory I have for the last 10 years I had was with Mike. It was of me with him. The way I laughed, the way I showed up, the way I loved. Even the pain was tied to a version of myself that only existed in that relationship. So leaving isn't clean. It isn't a matter of I'm done with you. It's more like I have to say goodbye to a version of me. If I leave now, what does that say about me? Also, it's the relationship. Not just what it is, but what it was supposed to be. Because relationships don't just end, they have to be mourned. Not just the person, but the plans, the future, the inside jokes, the shared language, the imagined future. The we that existed longer than it should have. You don't talk about that grief, Cheyenne. You just say, move on. But how do I move on from something that shaped me? I have to mourn that. And then there is everything else. The family that became mine, the friendships we built together, the space that feels like home because we were in them. Because when a relationship ends, it doesn't just take one person with it. It takes a whole ecosystem. Sometimes you lose people you never had a problem with. Sometimes you lose places that once felt like home. Sometimes you lose parts of your life that had nothing to do with the breakup, but everything to do with the connection. Leaving him means leaving all of that. Silence fell between them. And then Cheyenne asked something different. Are you happy? Danielle paused, took a sip of her drink, because for the first time she realized that question wasn't simple. It wasn't yes or no. So she replied, Which version of me are you asking about happiness? Shine then asked, okay, what does staying cost you? That question landed. Shine replied, it costs me. No hesitation, no performance. It costs me the version of myself I only get glimpses of sitting here with you. And the truth is, I've been calling it loyalty because I didn't want to call it what it really is. I'm scared. No dressing it up this time. Scared to leave, scared to start over, scared to find out who I am without him. But staying is not strength. It's just the place I go where I don't. It's just the place I go when I don't want to do something difficult, hard, painful. I think I've been loyal long enough. I'm ready to meet whoever I am without him. My dearest listeners, we understand it. We can explain it. We can break it down into layers. Time, identity, memory, connection. We can say it's complicated. It's not that simple. There's history there. But truth doesn't cancel truth. Because somewhere in all of that understanding, there is still a moment where staying has nothing to do with love, nothing to do with growth, and everything to do with this: not wanting to let go. So we dress it up. We call it loyalty. We call it commitment. We call it strength. But sometimes it's just fear. And staying in something that no longer serves you just because leaving is uncomfortable, that's not strength. So, my beautiful yellers, sometimes we don't leave all at once. Sometimes we leave slowly. Here is a poem I titled, I Stayed, But I Left. I stayed, but I left. Stayed in body, but my mind had already packed. My soul noticed first, caught in the middle of a quiet fight between what I was living and what I knew. My partner, my lover, my friend left first. His leaving came in inches, small, painful steps that ground me down until I met him at his level. Just adjusting, just understanding, just being loyal until less became normal and silence felt like peace. And my soul, tired of negotiating with something that was already gone, finally exhaled. And when it did, it took my mind and my body with it, not to leave him, but to survive me. And that's when I realized I didn't leave the relationship. I left myself and called it loyalty. So, my peaceful, loyal yellers, we call it loyalty, but maybe we have been calling it the wrong thing, because loyalty was never meant to cost you yourself. It was never meant to shrink you, silence you, or keep you somewhere. You have already grown. So, I'll leave you with this. When you say you're being loyal, who are you protecting? And more importantly, who are you abandoning? This is Who Yelling Now, and today we called it loyalty. Tell a friend to subscribe, and I shall see you in the next episode.